Adeline stood in front of the kitchen table, her hands placed on the white letter lying silently on the table, like a bomb without a sound. She knew something was wrong. The letter had no sign of the sender, no message or mark other than the name Adeline written neatly and sharply, as if someone had carefully pressed each stroke. Her eyes were intently glued to the letter, her mind reeling with countless thoughts. She felt nauseous. Since entering this house, everything seems to be in order. A successful gym, a happy married life with Ryan, and an upcoming wedding. But this letter, there's something different. It was like a warning. Something was about to break everything. Adeline couldn't understand why she felt worried. Everything seemed to be going in the right direction. She was about to have a wonderful life. At least she thought so. But then, that letter arrived and she couldn't help but think that something dangerous was lurking in her relationship. She placed her hand on her belly, feeling as nervous as the first time she went for a prenatal checkup. A strange feeling of fear that she had never experienced before. Just an hour earlier, she found the letter under the door. She did everything she could to avoid it. She cleaned out all the spice jars, rearranged the kitchen cabinets, tried anything to avoid having to face the truth she knew she would have to face. But in the end, she couldn't delay any longer. The words in that letter were like a wave hitting the shore. Unavoidable. Her phone suddenly vibrated. The screen lit up with a familiar name. Ryan. She hesitated for a moment, then picked up the phone. "Hey, babe. I want to know if we still have plans to meet on Sunday?" Ryan said, his voice warm without a trace of doubt. She looked at the letter one more time, then shook her head, a feeling of fear blooming in her heart. "Sure," she replied, her voice stiff. "I have a letter, Ryan. Did you send it?" Ryan was silent for a long moment. It seemed like he didn't understand the question. "What letter?" "I don't have any letter from you." A feeling of fear rose in Adeline's body. This letter was just placed under the door by someone. She heard him breathing on the other end of the line, then finally Ryan answered. "No, I didn't send any letters." Adeline felt she couldn't take it anymore. She hung up, still clutching the letter on the table, her palms wet with sweat. She opened it and read the cold writing, word by word. "Adeline Thompson, I believe you need to know the truth about your fiancé. Ryan has been seeing another woman for the past 3 months. They meet every Thursday at 2 p.m. in room 412 of the Riverside Hotel." She couldn't believe her eyes. Her heart stopped beating. The words cut into her skin like a knife, painful and undeniable. She continued reading, her hands shaking. Every detail in the letter was written meticulously and clearly. The meeting dates, time, even the description of Ryan's outfit. She read it all, her mind spinning. Everything she knew about her relationship now seemed to be crumbling before her eyes. A feeling of choking overwhelmed her. A storm swept over Adeline, leaving her unable to stand. Her legs felt weak, and she sank into the kitchen chair, feeling like the world was collapsing around her. She opened her and Ryan's joint banking app, her hands shaking. Each transaction flashed before her eyes, and then, just as it was written in the letter, she saw the expenses at the Riverside Hotel's restaurant every Thursday at 2 p.m. Everything the letter said is true. The truth was like a strong punch to her chest. She couldn't keep looking anymore, because she knew she couldn't go back anymore. "No," she whispered in the deserted apartment. "No, it can't be." She felt like everything was over. The front door opened, the sound of the key falling into the key tray. Ryan comes home. "Adeline, why didn't you answer the phone?" His voice was filled with worry as he entered. He saw her sitting there, her hand still clutching the letter, and worry rose in his eyes. "What's up?" Adeline did not answer. She just held up the letter, not taking her eyes off the words. "Explain, Ryan. Please." Ryan walked quickly, holding out the letter, but she pulled back, holding tight. She took a deep breath, looking straight at him. "Is everything the letter said true? Did you meet her? In room 412 of the Riverside Hotel?" He stood motionless, then a forced smile appeared on his face. "It's not what you think." His voice trembled, filled with shame. Adeline looked at Ryan for a long moment, her heart freezing. She knew she couldn't continue to endure this lie any longer. His eyes, confusion, and hesitation were all no longer the same as before. He was no longer the man she had trusted, but now he was just a stranger standing in front of her. She felt pain in her heart, but also full of anger, an anger that she had never dared to express for a long time. "Can you explain, Ryan? Why her? Why did you have to do that?" She couldn't hold her emotions anymore. Everything she had believed in, everything she had loved so much was now crumbling before her eyes. Ryan stood there, silent, his eyes avoiding her gaze. The words he said next were not an apology, not a repentance, but just a weak excuse. "Addie, I don't know what to say. It's not what you think, it's complicated." She couldn't bear it anymore. His words could not ease the pain in her heart. They only made the hurt deeper. She took a deep breath, then let out the words she had been holding back all this time. "What's so complicated, Ryan? How long have you and her been seeing each other? Who is she?" Her question was sharp and full of tension. Ryan didn't answer right away. He just stood there, his face full of fatigue, as if he didn't have the strength to explain anymore. "My mother. She arranged it all," he finally said, his voice as light as a breeze but heavy. "She forced you to meet her. CLA. Everything was part of her plan." Adeline stood silent for a moment as if those words had not entered her mind. "Margaret," she whispered, then shook her head. "It's definitely her." Ryan's words were like a blow to Adeline's heart, leaving her in disbelief. She knew about his mother's control, but never thought she could control things to this extent. "So that means your mother made all of this up from the beginning, right? From the letter to your meetings with CLA? Was it all created by her?" Ryan didn't say anything, but his eyes said it all. Adeline felt torn apart between pain and anger. She cannot accept this truth. She couldn't believe that the person she loved could be controlled like that. "You don't love me anymore, right?" she asked, her voice choked. "I just love my mother and what she says. I don't see what you are anymore." At this point, Ryan was no longer looking for excuses. He was silent, standing there like a disoriented person. Adeline knew she couldn't continue with this relationship right now. She could not live under Margaret's lies and control. "I can't live with you anymore, Ryan. I can't live in this world. That letter, I see you've changed. I won't let myself be sucked into this vortex anymore." She stood up, feeling like she had nothing left to wait for. She looked one last time at Ryan, his eyes still filled with confusion. "You can go with your mother. I have nothing more to say to you." She turned away and walked out of the house that she thought would be her home. Each of Adeline's footsteps echoed in the quiet space, like an end to a once beautiful relationship. She walked out, not looking back again. She knew she needed to go, needed to find herself again, but not to escape, but to start over. Caleb called her just as she was on her way out. "Adeline, are you okay?" His voice was full of worry. She could only respond with one sentence. "Can you come pick me up?" And Caleb was there soon after. Without further questions, he drove back to her house, bringing with him the comfort Adeline so needed right now. When she got home, she left everything behind. Ryan, Margaret, and all her broken hopes. "I won't come back again," Adeline said, her voice light but determined. "I will start a new life, a life without those people." Caleb just looked at her silently, then nodded. He understands that this is the time she needs to stand up and find herself. When Adeline arrives at the place she calls home after leaving everything, she knows that her new journey will not be easy. But at least she no longer has to live in lies and control. She will start from the beginning, do everything again, and live true to herself. Anyone who cannot accept that will have to leave. Adeline sat in the living room that Caleb prepared for her, looking at the window, but her eyes did not leave anywhere, as if searching for something far away. Everything around her was strange, like another world, but she felt free. felt like she was being freed from invisible shackles that she had never realized before. She no longer had to worry about Margaret's supervision, no longer had to listen to criticism from Ryan's mother. All of this was behind her, and now she had only herself, Caleb, and Elizabeth by her side. People who truly understood her and didn't force her to change to suit other people's wishes. But in Adeline's heart, the sadness has not yet disappeared. She still thinks about Ryan, about what happened. The words he said, the tears of regret she saw in his eyes when she left, were all like wounds that had not yet healed. But she knew that if she continued to stay with him, she would only live in lies, live in a deadlock, and be unable to develop. One evening, while she was cleaning her small room, a call came, a strange number she did not know. She hesitated for a moment, then decided to pick up the phone. "Adeline, it's me." Ryan's voice came through the phone, this time not confused but quiet, as if he had thought everything through. "I know you're angry with me, and I understand why you did it. I can't change the past, but I want you to know that I regret it." Those words made Adeline's heart ache, but she was too used to living in pain. "I've heard too many apologies," Adeline replied, her voice gentle but determined. "But you can't change the truth. You've let things go too far, Ryan." She was silent for a moment, not knowing what else to say. Finally, she spoke up again. "I've decided. I can't live in that lie anymore. We have nothing more to say to each other." She turned off the phone and put the phone on the table, feeling like a burden had been lifted. She no longer had to worry about pleasing anyone, no longer had to stand in the middle of a fight in which she was not the winner. In the following days, Adeline's life passed in a new rhythm, completely different from the days she spent with Ryan. She spent more time for herself, participated in yoga classes that she loved, and found peace in her soul. Elizabeth, her close friend, is always by her side, sharing with her the peaceful moments they created together. Caleb also never left her side, always listening and supporting her when she felt tired. But no matter what, Adeline knew that her life had changed forever. She is no longer a scared woman, no longer someone who has to live in the shadow of others. She began to participate in new projects, gradually restoring her career. She knows that if there is something valuable in this life, it is freedom and the right to be true to yourself. A month later, while she was attending a meeting with her new business partners, she received a letter. This time, it wasn't from Ryan, but from Margaret. The letter was written by hand. Her handwriting remained unchanged, but this time there was no coldness in it. "Adeline, I know we've had so many differences, but I want you to understand that I never wanted you to suffer. I was wrong to interfere so deeply in my son's life and yours, but I only want the best for our family. I can't change the past, but if you want, I'm willing to redo everything." After Adeline read the letter, her heart was no longer the same. She no longer felt anger, but only gentle regret. "You can't change the past, but I won't let myself get caught up in your power games anymore." Adeline smiled faintly. She felt like she had just completed a long journey, and finally, it was time to start a new life. She doesn't need anyone else's approval, just freedom and truth. She no longer has to bear the pain of others. She is Adeline, and she will live her life her way. A few months later, as she stood in front of the big building where she had just received an offer to be the CEO of a new project, she felt a deep sense of satisfaction. This was all she had wanted, not from someone else's promises, but from herself. She turned to look at Caleb, her companion throughout this journey, and said a short sentence. "Thank you for always being by my side." Caleb smiled, his eyes filled with understanding. "Thank you for trusting me." Adeline walked, not looking back at the past, but only looking forward, where a new future was waiting for her. Adeline sat on the old sofa in her new apartment, looking out the window where the golden light of the afternoon shone through, creating long streaks of light on the floor. Everything in this room was new to her, from the furniture to the feeling of freedom she had never felt before. Even though she decided to leave everything behind, she still couldn't escape worrying about the future. In the first days after leaving Ryan, she felt like she was lost. Everything was built on lies, dreams that never came true. She wondered if she could start over and find true happiness. But with each passing day, she realized that she didn't need to wait for change from others. She is the one who can change her life. Caleb and Elizabeth were by her side, helping her regain her confidence and restore what had been lost during the past time. Elizabeth, her companion who always comforted her with sincere words, helped her regain faith in herself. And Caleb, with his straightforwardness and determination, helped Adeline realize that she did not need to change herself to please others. One weekend, while Adeline was enjoying breakfast with Elizabeth and Caleb in her small kitchen, her phone suddenly vibrated. A text message from Ryan appeared on the screen. Adeline, I understand if you don't want to listen to me anymore, but I just want you to know that I always love you. I was wrong and I regret it. Adeline did not respond immediately. She felt a gentle sadness, but not regret. She learned an important lesson from that relationship. Loving yourself is the most important thing. After reading the message, she looked up and looked into Caleb's eyes. I can't go back, she said, her voice soft but firm. Caleb nodded, smiling with deep understanding. You made the right choice. You don't have to live in a lie. Adeline felt an extraordinary peace. She knew she had made the right decision. Her new life begins from here, without Ryan, without the pressure from his family, with only her, Caleb, and Elizabeth by her side. People who really understand her. Everything changes, but she is prepared to face it all. She decided to expand her work, not only as a fitness trainer, but also as an inspiration for those who are looking for change in their lives. Every day she participates in yoga classes, helping people who have difficulty improving their health and spirit. She gradually became an influential person in the community, not because of perfection, but because she lived true to herself, not following any other model. A month later, as Adeline was preparing for a celebration at the gym, she received an unexpected call from Ryan's mother, Margaret. She hesitated for a moment, but then picked up the phone. Adeline, I know you're angry with me, and I understand if you don't want to listen to me anymore. But I just want you to know that I'm sorry for everything that happened. I didn't mean to hurt you. I just wanted the best for the family. Margaret's words rang with regret, but Adeline no longer felt forgiveness. You've done too much damage, Margaret, she replied, her voice calm. But I don't need your apology. I've decided to move on and start over. And I don't need your participation in my life anymore. She turned off the phone, feeling a gentle wave pass through her soul. She is no longer a woman who has to endure arrangements from others. She lived her own way. And when the celebration ended, she stood on the stage, looking out at the familiar faces of the students who had accompanied her all this time. She is no longer a woman standing quietly in the shadows, but a strong, confident person, and ready to face all challenges in life. On the last day of the year, when looking back at what she had gone through, Adeline felt proud. She overcame everything others wanted to bring her down. She chose to be true to herself and found peace in her heart. She doesn't need to prove herself to anyone, just live for herself. And in that moment, she realized that happiness was not something found outside, but something she created within her own heart. Adeline sat in her small room, the light from the desk lamp weakly shone on her face, bringing a strange silence in this space. Everything is new, from the desk to the books neatly stacked on the shelves. It's been almost a month since she decided to leave Ryan and the lies that haunted her life. During the past time, questions about the future have always worried her. But there's one thing Adeline is more certain of than ever. She made the right choice. Not because she wants revenge, but because she has found a way to live true to herself, a way that no one can show her, except herself. Today, while she was tidying up the things in the house, a call from Caleb made her stop. Addie, there's news from Margaret. Caleb's words rang out, making her feel a strange feeling in her heart. Sure, she has something to say again. Adeline answered, still holding the tablecloth. Even though she had decided not to let her affect her life anymore, Margaret's words still made her unable to be completely indifferent. She said she wanted to see you, Adeline. We need to have a final conversation. Caleb continued, his voice filled with doubt. I don't know. Maybe I should meet her. Adeline replied, her heart filled with indescribable excitement. After a moment of thought, she decided that this meeting would not be about facing regret or asking for forgiveness. She was strong enough to know that everything was over, but if this could help her leave her past decisively, she would face it. When entering Margaret's house, an atmosphere of silence prevailed, as if everything was ready for a confrontation. She realized that no matter how many years had passed, Ryan's mother had not changed. She is still determined to maintain power, still trying to control everything. But this time, Adeline feels stronger than ever. Addie, I know you don't like me, but I just want you to know that everything I do is for Ryan, for this family. Margaret's words sounded like a plea for forgiveness, but Adeline no longer felt the pain or anger she had before. Are you doing everything to keep this family? Or do you just want to control everything, from Ryan to me? Adeline couldn't control herself. Her emotions flared up like a fierce fire. You don't understand. I've been living in your shadow for too long. Adeline looked Margaret straight in the eyes, and for the first time, she felt liberated. I don't need your approval anymore. Margaret hesitated for a moment as if her words confused her. She said nothing more, just stood silently looking at Adeline with hesitant eyes. Meanwhile, Adeline suddenly realized that her life was not what she had created for her, but that she was the one who could decide. What else can you do? Adeline smiled faintly, gently turned and walked away. Before leaving the house, she looked back one last time, not for her, but for herself. A week later, Adeline received a letter from Ryan with the usual apologies. But this time, she did not open the letter. She no longer needed to hear explanations. She got over that stage, and now she only cares about moving on. She began to learn to love herself, expanded her yoga classes, and gradually rebuilt new relationships, free of lies and manipulation. Caleb and Elizabeth are always by her side, encouraging and helping her find her life purpose and affirm her self-worth. One evening, as Adeline and Caleb sat together on the balcony of her new home, looking at the bright stars in the night sky, she felt a gentle, yet warm happiness. We went through difficult days, but now I feel truly free. Adeline spoke, her voice quiet, but her eyes radiant. The most important thing is that we have learned to be true to ourselves. Caleb replied, smiling knowingly. Thank you, Caleb. Adeline felt more relieved than ever. She knows that her next life will not be easy, but at least she will not have to live in the darkness of lies anymore. She will live the life she deserves, free and truly happy. A few months later, as Adeline was preparing for a special training session, she received a call from Elizabeth. Addie, I just heard from Ryan. He wanted to meet you. Elizabeth said, her voice filled with worry. But Adeline just smiled. I don't need to see him anymore. I'm strong enough to move on. And this time, I won't look back. She put down the phone and returned to her work, no longer feeling worried or doubtful about the future. She knew she was on the right track. She won't let anyone else decide her life anymore. If you enjoyed this emotional journey and want to hear more heartfelt stories, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Join us as we dive into more powerful tales of resilience, love, and self-discovery. Your support means the world, and we can't wait to share the next chapter with you. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. Let's grow this amazing community together. Stay tuned for more incredible stories coming your way. Thank you for being a part of this journey.